Well, hey, everybody, this is going to be a very interesting podcast. And so for the next hour, we're going to be together and just talk about quite a bit to each and every one of you. Thank you for being a part of the podcast and joining us on today. Today is going to be a day that we're going to kind of pull some things apart here, take a look at a few things, and see really what's happening when it comes to our country. Before I get started, I would like to say hello to everyone. Hi, Barbara. Hi, VR. Yvonne Brown. Rita Gordon. It's Barbara Waring. I'm sorry. So it's Yvonne Brown, Rita Gordon, Tracy Parson, Tamisha Hammonds, Vicky Holt, Daphne Jetter, Queen Henderson, Avery Williams, Ashley Robertson, Dimples, Adrian McNeil. Hello to all of you. Let me go over here to Instagram and let me see who we got here. So Mrs. Brown here and Candice, hello to you. Walker Treckle and Rochelle Robinson Ware. SQ18, hello, how are you? CS Malls, how are you? You have Patrick Grants, Wallace P. How are you? Varials, how are you? Hope that everybody is doing well. I've got quite a few people on here today, and as people are continuing to come. Fly Sigma, Pretty Lady, T.S. Sampson. Hello to you. All of these wonderful people on Instagram. Sheila, Mr. Go Easy. I have quite a bit of people. Lily, Latoya, Michelle, Sheila, Godson, Favored by You, Real and Drew Carter, Poppin' Decor. Hello to everyone. Tequila Curel, I believe that is. And so hello to each and every one of you. Wallace and your cousin and Kay and Rakita, Fancy Faze, Angela, Fuller, how are you? And so just want to speak to as many people as I can. Lady Integrity, Betty Archie, Jammin, Heel, how are you? Majesty, how are you today? So trying to get as many people as I can here. Hi, I'll speak to just a few more people and then we'll get moving and get started. So Marshall World and Micah Herbin, Travis Graves, Lakeisha Herring, Yolanda, hello, PC Jones, Quinn, Gwen, that is, I'm sorry, Brenda, Queen, Shannon, Faith, Rita, Joy, blessings to each and every one of you today. It is, it's Kay Hara speaking, Carla, Forrest, and Slow Walk It, Daniel Williams, Demetria Myers. Hello to all of you in Citadel. All right, so blessings to everybody. Can't keep speaking to people because I got to keep moving on, but I want to be able to say hello to each and every individual. And to my mom. Hey, Mom. All right, so I want to talk a little bit. Before I do, make sure that you connect with each and every one of us. Make sure you connect with us. Connect. The way that you connect is Facebook, Dr. Kevin A. Williams, Instagram, Dr. Kevin A. Williams Official, X, Dr. KAW Official. Then you have YouTube, which is at Kevin A. Williams 777, and you can always get in contact with me at megabossnews777@gmail.com. Again, it's megabossnews777@gmail.com. Hey, Andre. And so, and those that if you want me to talk about something, if you want me to discuss something, if there is something of interest that is there, you can send it. I'll take a look at it. We'll definitely talk about it. Again, that's megabossnews777@gmail.com. I do something called Fix My Life. Fix My Life is a very interesting, impactful move. It deals with people's mindset. It deals with changing the way that you think to get optimum benefits. One of the things that I do teach is that as you're progressing, you move in silence. And because if people don't know what you're doing, then you have less opposition of them trying to block it. But sometimes your enemies get stronger because you are informing them of things that they should not know. Sometimes people are not interested in even trying to do certain things that they are doing, or they're not interested in some of the things that you're even doing if in turn you will not inform them. So please understand that Mega Boss Fix My Life is something that will definitely change your life. We're in the second semester, your first semester, second semester. You have the advanced class of $500 a month, and you have the regular class of $250 a month. And you can go to megabossnews777@gmail.com and you can get information there. I want to talk about my book for a second. If you have not seen or read that book, the book is amazing. God's Science, God's Algorithm to the End of Days is something that should be in everybody's library. It is going to teach you eschatology. It's going to teach you history. It's going to teach you algorithms. It's going to teach you about music. It's going to teach you about structure. It's going to teach you. No, it's a game changer. And when you have a book that now is being used in collegiate atmospheres, then you have to read why is this book so important. And so you can get this book as well as a workbook that is there. I think the book is like $50, workbook is like $25. And so you can order that on Amazon. So get your copy today. Again, get your copy today. For our supporters, for the Mega Boss supporters, you can always support, and these are the ways that you can give, and please make sure that you do. $ Dr. Kevin A. Williams, Zelle, Dr. Kevin A. Williams @gmail.com, paypal.me/Dr. Kevin A. Williams, as well as you can mail it to 1822 Sharp Road, Greensboro, North Carolina, and mail it to in care of Dr. Kevin A. Williams. I appreciate all of your support, and thank you so much. Right now, I've got my phone beside me, so immediately when you start sending something, I will know it. All right. So, and you're starting to send right now. So thank you so much because it supports everything that we do, and definitely this equipment and all of these other things that I had no idea that how they worked and what benefit that they would be. And so now there's great value in it. All right. So with that being said, let's have a serious talk. Very recently, the President of the United States was seeking a second term. President Joe Biden, seeking a second term. He had hinted of a possibility of him stepping out of the race. And this is what he said. He said, and I am somewhat quoting near, but this is what he said, that if my doctors tell me that I need to drop out of this race, then I will. Well, to me, that was a foreshadowing of someone that is saying that they're going to run this race, they're going to be here, this, that, and the other. Well, if there's an implication that the doctors have said that you should not run again, now he's had COVID, he has had some major impacts and effects that have had on him. And thank you so much for those people that are giving. I appreciate that. Some major impacts on his body. COVID is on the rise again. That's a conversation that we need to have, not today. But I believe that everybody's going to probably have to start wearing masks again because COVID is coming back, and it's coming back pretty strong, this variant. And it affected our president. It also has put us in a position that now we're in a different kind of move when it comes to this campaign. If you saw my live on Instagram on Sunday, one of the things that I addressed is that with him stepping out of the race for that short period, and even the period now, Donald Trump does not have anybody that he's running against, and everything is ramping up. and it's ramping up pretty strong. It's ramping up to the point that right now everybody is clamoring to figure out what is going on and what is happening. Before today, or before the Sunday, there were a lot of people that would not look at and did not look at Kamala Harris as being a viable candidate to be the president of the United States. There's another look that's being taken at her at this point. And the question is why? Well, right now, Kamala Harris, there is God, I got so much I got to say to you. But right now, Kamala Harris is going after the candidacy and wants to be confirmed by the Democratic Party as their nominee. She's going for it. Now look who she has behind her. She has the sitting president of the United States. She has former presidents of the United States from the Democratic Party. You have also businessmen and people of influence that are backing her, of course, in the Democratic Party. And what she has to do, she has two races now that she has to beat. She has to beat the first race of other contenders that will be coming in that still want the same thing. And so right now, this is a backroom garnering of pulling as many people as you can to try to get that support to be the nominee. Now, right now, the Democratic Party is scrambling. And I mean, they're scrambling hard. Now, I've got a different perspective on a lot of this. But I need to show you a couple of things first so that it gives you some level of idea of kind of what's swirling around and what is happening. Would you put my first video up? And I just want you all to see this. I'll get to your question in just a minute. Now, let me tell you why that there were discrepancies. The reason that there was discrepancies is because, one, for a little while, they couldn't find, Joe Biden was not being seen by anyone. And so everybody wanted confirmation that he was still alive. Of course, he's still alive. But the next thing is that there was a discrepancy and there was questions about, is this his signature? Whether it's his signature or not, he has come out and stated what he stated. So as a result, we do know that he has bowed out. He's pushing Kamala Harris. Would you push the next video up? Then we'll start talking and I'll take your questions. This here is, when I tell you this is something that is changing the fabric of how the United States thinks. Kamala Harris is going to be a president, and I'm going to tell you all why, in my opinion. Go ahead.
We've got NBC's national political correspondent Steve Kornacki with us now and the big board. So let's look deeper into those polls, how Kamala Harris fares in a matchup against Trump.
Yeah, and the headline, Savannah, is right now at least not that much different. Take a look. This is an average of the 10 national polls that have come out since that debate last month. Yeah, Trump at 47, Harris at 46. If you ran this same average Biden versus Trump, it was a 2-point Trump lead. So very, very slight improvement to start out. But obviously, that's something that's within the margin of error there. Democrats are really kind of starting in the same place.
And so what about the key groups? Does she perform better with particular groups? And does that open up a path or other states potentially?
And I thought this was interesting. In our own most recent NBC poll, here are some groups when you match Harris against Trump where she actually fares better than Biden did. Headline there is black voters, almost a 10-point difference there. Harris improvement. The left wing of the Democratic base, Sanders, Warren voters, and folks 35 to 49 years old. The flip side, though, is Trump improves in some areas with Harris in the race, at least according to our poll. Here you see Republican voters who aren't satisfied Trump's their nominee. Think Haley voters here, white males with college degrees. These two groups, I think you tend to find in the suburbs. Suburbs have been a big place for Democrats to be growing lately. So you take a look at our road to 270. The 6 core battleground states are there in gray. Those numbers I just showed you, well, if you're a Democrat and you see the number among black voters, you think maybe Georgia, maybe Harris could help you there. You know, that's a state with a large black population. Trump's been running very well there in the polls. But again, the flip side is if Trump's posting improvements in the suburbs with Harris in the race, the suburbs around Atlanta, that could wipe it all out for
Arizona,
them. And Arizona,
young voters, suburbs around Phoenix potentially, because prior to this, the real path for Biden was those Rust Belt states. So potentially it opens up more battlegrounds.
And I think that's the thing. The reason why Biden had that path you're talking about in Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania is the growth for Trump and the weakness for Biden has been non-white voters. So Georgia, Arizona, Nevada with much more diverse populations than those Midwest states.
I have a feeling we'll be meeting here many times in the future. Steve, thank you very much.
All right, hey, so look at this, pull this out. Now, I want you all to see something. The first thing that you need to see, and that is that the whole engine of the Democratic Party is moving very quickly behind Harris. Well, when you have one sitting president and 2 former presidents that are backing you, along with nominees and things like that, then definitely it is going to ramp things up. But this is not a popularity contest. This is not being popular in the Democratic Party. This is actually winning the electoral votes of each state. This is not an easy win. I do think at the same time, and I think that people are going to, because I want to be balanced in this, in my perspective, I think that the Trump campaign, I think that it has been shaken a bit, believe it or not, but I do. And I'm going to tell you why. One of the reasons I believe it's been shaken a bit is because if you prepared to fight one individual and your whole strength and campaign has been to fight one individual, and then you have another person that is coming on the scene, you now have to find out the information not only about Joe Biden's record, but also about Kamala Harris's record. When she was in the DA's office, when she was prosecuting, when she was putting people in prison, when she was going after bad guys. In fact, she said something very recently of, I know Donald Trump and his type. I think that now Trump says that it's going to be easier for him with her than it is with Biden. I'm not that sure about that. And I have pros and cons in my perspective of that. I'll get your statement in just a moment. And the reason being is because anytime you get an attorney that is used to prosecuting, then that means that they're used to debating and they're used to arguing the point. Now, the only thing about an attorney is that they may not be used to arguing the point that long back and forth without a judge coming in and saying, hold up. But you got a whole different situation here. And so now you have someone that is a bit more, she's youthful, more youthful, I'll say that. She's more youthful. She has a sharper mind. And here's another thing that she has, because she has not spoken very well in some areas. But at the same time, most presidents have writers. And so I think that you're going to see a different presentation of a Kamala Harris. You have big money that is behind her with your people like your George Soros, who probably publicly is only worth about $6 or $7 billion, but privately, this guy could be worth 100 billion or more if he's got the majority of his wealth in a trust fund, which I would assume that he does. Then you're dealing with a whole different kind of conversation. Go ahead and put some of these questions up, because this is going to be a serious, serious talk today. So what does this all mean for the Republican Party? What this means for the Republican Party right now, and that is that they're going to have to regroup. I do think that I think that Donald Trump chose J.D. Vance, who is an attorney. His wife, J.D. Vance from Ohio, his wife is an attorney. So this is and his wife was born in the United States, but her family migrated here from India. So you have a mixed interracial couple which possibly looks good for the Republican Party. She is a Yale graduate. I think her name is Usha, something like that, but she's a Yale graduate. But I'm not sure if the Republican Party is going to end up having buyer's regret, because even though J.D. Vance is popular when it comes to conservatives, he may not be able to garner the support of more liberal conservatives and their perspectives. I've watched him already in his public statements, and he's a bit dry when it comes to how he presents himself. There is nothing about him, in my opinion, that is memorable. And unfortunately to me, he's easy to forget right now if in turn he does not ramp up his ability to be able to move a crowd. His sense of humor is dry. He's going to need some help. And I don't know if Donald Trump is going to have buyer's remorse, or the Republican Party is going to have buyer's remorse. That is yet to be seen. Next question, throw it up here. This country has a way of treating elderly people like they don't matter when they reach a certain age. This man was bullied into dropping out of the race. I think that possibly he was. Because right now, but here's the question. In the bullying, was the bullying mean-spirited, or was the bullying saying this is best for the country? Or was the bullying saying this is best for the party? Or was the bullying saying this is best for you? So you've got the concern of him. So whoever, if he was bullied, or if he was manipulated in some kind of way, was it best for him? Was it best for the party? Was it best for the country? And the question is, in the condition that he was in, who can, some will say yay, some will say nay, but who can comfortably say that you believe that he is going to be able to handle the next 4 years when you're concerned about handling the next 6 months? Now, please remember, whoever wins, the sitting president is still the sitting president until January 20th. Before he gives over reins or goes into his next term. Next question. Told you this is going to be an interesting day today because I got so much to show you all. Do you believe if she does in fact win, it is a warning from God or the judgment of God on our nation? let me not limit this response to her. Whoever wins, we're going to need God. Bottom line. I do have some concerns about her perspective of about a couple of things, which I will address. But whoever wins, we're going to need God. Now, let's deal specifically with your Kamala Harris. I think that God is getting the United States attention in a lot of different ways. For us to be the superpower of the world and for us not to even know who's leading us, that says a lot about the backroom politics that is taking place in our nation. It does. It does. And some people may disagree with that, but how does a nation this strong and the superpower of the world get into a position that we've got a country almost split into civil war? We have no respect when it comes to leadership of any kind. Everybody wants to be able to share their opinion without any level of respect. You've got people that if they cannot get their way, they will kill you. I am extremely concerned right now, to be quite honest, about her life. Because if she wins, if she wins the candidacy, the nominee, if she becomes the nominee, they're going to have to protect this lady. Because right now, you got a serious situation. So to specifically answer your question, is this a warning from God or a judgment of God about our nation? I believe it is a warning from God. But I do believe that the United States is being judged for a lot of atrocities the United States has been a part of, that we should have had a different opinion about, and we did not. That we could have handled things differently, and we did not. Next question. Thank you, Kenya. Have you obtained the Project 2025 playbook? I have not obtained the playbook. No, I have not. I have read some excerpts from it. Donald Trump is publicly denying the fact that he has anything to do with this. These are people that are former aides of Donald Trump, but the Trump campaign does not support this at all. So because they don't support it at all, I really don't want to give commentary on it, because I want to give commentary on what each party supports and not necessarily the hypothetical. But that is a very unique conservative kind of situation. It's and maybe one day I will give commentary on it, but I want to stick to, because I don't want anyone to say that I made a statement that this is the Trump campaign's whatever. There is a question, and the question, I'll answer that question in just a bit. That question has come through, but I'll answer that question in just a bit. Next question, put it up, and then I'm going to show you a video. Hello, Bishop. Do you believe the stage is being set for the Obamas to take office again? Well, to further accelerate the evil agenda. I will say this. I will say that I don't think it is far-fetched for anyone to believe that the Obamas do have some level of influence when it comes to Joe Biden and the White House. I also do not believe that it is far-fetched for anybody to believe that the Obamas in some way, shape, or form, President Obama specifically, has been playing puppet master when it comes to Biden. Biden is older. He's going to trust Obama because it was trusting Obama that got him this far. So I would say I think that if if any Democrat maintains to be in office, the Obamas will have influence. Now, I don't believe that anyone feels that they have an evil agenda, but I do believe that there is an agenda that is there that is going to end up being questionable. And whether it is Democrat or Republican, you've got to be careful. If I have a leader in front of me, I want that leader to lead. I don't want that leader to be the spokesperson of somebody that is behind the scene and you don't know what their mind is. And I think that we can run into a situation like that where we're experiencing such. Very good question. I'm careful of how I answer it, because there's been a lot of censoring on social media, and I want to be careful of how I answer things. But I believe that there is a very possible motive behind this with some powers that be. The scripture tells me that there will be puppet masters that are kings ultimately in Revelations, that can ultimately be behind the scenes, that has a satanic agenda, most definitely. When I tell you I have concerns, major concerns. Put my next, I gave my staff so many videos. I don't even know what's next. So I'll tell you what, just put the next video up and I'll just give you commentary on it. Go ahead.
With President Biden expected to drop out of the 2024 election, some are rallying behind Vice President Kamala Harris.
No one knows better how to prosecute the case against Donald Trump than Kamala Harris.
She tried, remember, in 2020 in the Democratic primary, and we'll see if she's able to come out strong and then maintain that success this time around.
It does put us in position to have a significantly more competitive election had Joe Biden stayed in the race.
Here's how Harris could stack up in a race against former President Donald Trump.
Donald Trump simply does not have the character to be president of the United States.
Experts say Harris could have a tough campaign trail ahead, but she does have some key advantages.
How do you win the presidency if you don't win the majority of white voters? You have to check off all of the other boxes.
One advantage Harris has is her potential to win over more women, people of color, and young voters.
We're going to be able to effectively make the case about women's health care, their right in terms of choosing how they want to live their lives.
I'm Millie, a content creator.
For a second. All right, now here's the deal. No, take it down because I want to show you all something else. Now, with that being said, I want to show you all something. There is, and a lot of people are rallying behind Kamala Harris, but I want everybody to remember something. The president and the vice president should be protected in any situation at all cost. At all cost. Somebody should not even be able to get near them to hurt them in any kind of way. Donald Trump had a near-death experience on July 13th. He, by all intents and purposes, shouldn't even be here if it wasn't for the grace of God. But I'm also thinking, and I'm gonna see if my staff can find it. There is a video, and in that video, the video is called Kamala Harris Interrupted by Protester. It's by BBC News. In that video, I need you all to look at this video and tell me, why did it take so long to protect this lady? And tell me, what does that say about their feeling of her? This is, I tell you what, play it, you tell me.
Next question, Senator. on implementation of your first big idea on the gender pay gap, not everyone works for a corporation.
Yes.
And a big, it's,
Oh.
hey,
Hello. Oh, hi. Whoa. Just a minute, sir.
Whoa. Asking for your attention to a much bigger idea than.
Thank you so much, sir, for your big idea. But we want to make sure that we.
Now, here's the deal. The deal is, and this, you're a vice president, you are a senator, you're a public figure of any kind. Of any kind. They got people jumping up on stages now, fighting people, hurting people, punching people, whether they are politicians, they don't care if they're women. They're jumping up on pulpits, fighting preachers because they disagree with a message. And then people wonder why you have security. You wonder why somebody has security. A man had no business walking up on a woman like that, period. Her husband even jumped up there. What in the world? What in the world? Go ahead and put your questions up. Because I'm telling y'all, no, this world, and that's why it's always the people that are wondering why. It's always the people that don't nobody want to hear what they got to say, wondering why everybody got security. Reason you ain't got no security because nobody want to hear what you got to say. You ain't making no moves. You got the following of 2. Ain't nobody concerned about you. But people that have something to say that is impactful, whether you agree with it or not, please understand something. People need to be protected. The women on the stage had more tenacity than the security. Exactly. Now, I admire, let me tell you something. That sister got up. The sister got up and said, this ain't gonna go down like this. God bless the sisters, man. The sister got up and said, now try it if you want to. We'll swing on you. Where was Secret Service? Where was anybody? Where was anybody? Where was protection at all? Where was protection at all? Where was protection at all? Next, throw it up. She needs a Queen Elizabeth perk. Pew, pew. Yeah. Yeah. But you know what, in Cosmia? Here's my question. Why? Number one, I agree with you. But here's the other side. Why do you even have to have the mindset of protecting yourself? Why can't you be comfortable in just focusing on what you have to say, knowing that you're covered? This Secret Service detail and security detail, what I've watched lately, and by the way, that Secret Service lady resigned for that debacle concerning Donald Trump. But what I've noticed is security. Let me tell you something. You need more than people that saying they are security or they're Secret Service because they got a badge and a gun and they walking around looking at everybody with sunglasses on. And as soon as something happened, they go to looking to protect themselves before they protect anything else. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. And so you got a lot of concerns right now. A lot of concerns right now. Give me my next question. I believe that America doesn't have any respect for VP Harris. I would somewhat agree. I think she has respect in her areas, but I would somewhat agree. Now, they're saying the polls are saying a lot of different things. And sometimes you can trust the polls, sometimes you can't. But I will tell you that when I tell you it's a major concern, no, it is a major concern. The Trump campaign, and whether you're a Democrat or Republican, because I'm not here to push either one. If you're on the Trump side, then you're going to have to ramp up everything that you're doing, because your VP pick is dull and he's not strong, and he's going to have to get some creativity about it. And right now, he's in the honeymoon stage, or just glad that he's on stage. As we say in the church, I'm just glad to be in the number one more time. So that's the kind of mindset that he has. But he better realize that this is for real. This is for real. When it comes to the same situation, when it comes to Kamala Harris, I've seen her talking a lot, and she's laughing a lot. This is not a laughing matter. And sometimes what she does is, what I've noticed what she does, she'll talk, give a talking point, and then smirk or laugh. This is not a laughing matter, because right now you're going to have to win. You're not just trying to win the Democratic Party. You're trying to win voters in the United States. And right now you have an undecided base. Everything is undecided. Everything is undecided. Everything is undecided. Anthony Wright said, do you see the United States splitting? I feel the Republicans are not happy about the support Kamala Harris is receiving. I would want to think not. Biblically, I don't see the United States splitting. And to be honest with you, Anthony, that's almost my only hope. I told everybody to check out this movie called Civil War. If you haven't seen the movie, you need to see it, because there is some Hollywood gives you an idea of possibilities that many times we need to reconsider and check our values, because right now we are raising a culture of people that don't understand respect and honor. There's another question that was given. I'm looking at it. It says, how does the Christian Republican Party respond to J.D. Vance's wife being Hindu? You can go ahead and pull this down. I think that the Republican Party is not going to give a lot of value to it, because it's his wife. I think it would be different if it was him. I think it'd be different if they were not supporting certain values. What do I believe about J.D. Vance's wife? I believe that she's going to stick with her Hindu convictions, but I do believe what she's going to support is Christian principles that are in alignment with her Hindu convictions, to make sure that she doesn't disturb the party. Now, that's my opinion. Go to my next video, because I've got things I need you all to see, and I don't even have that much time. Go ahead. You don't even have to remain the last video. I'm through with that one. Give me another one. Take a look.
I'm looking at the White House on this Tuesday, where Vice President Kamala Harris has secured support from enough Democratic delegates to become the presumptive nominee against former President Trump. Senior administration official telling our Martha Raddatz, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro and Arizona Senator Mark Kelly are the leading candidates for Kamala Harris's run.
All right, now I need y'all to see something for a second. Josh Shapiro, Arizona Senator, Mark Kelly. All right, you're dealing with right now picks for VP. The Republican Party doesn't know if they have a major issue right now until they find out who that VP is. So let me give you an example. Dick Cheney secured George Bush's candidacy. He secured the White House. Why? Dick Cheney, CIA, had a lot of pull, a lot of power, a lot of influence. And if you messed with George Bush, Dick Cheney was going to make sure you didn't live to tell about it. Your VP, either you can be a star VP to a lesser president, or you can be a lower VP to a star president. Go ahead and finish playing.
Running mate. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze joins me now from the White House, along with ABC News executive editorial producer John Santucci, sitting right next to me. Elizabeth, good to see you. We'll start with you first. What are you learning about the Veep stakes now?
Right. So as you say, our Martha Raddatz is reporting, according to a senior administration official, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro and Arizona Senator Mark Kelly are the two top contenders at the moment in this vetting process for possible running mates for Vice President Harris. Of course, this is still early days, but this process does need to move along quickly, Phil. The goal from the DNC is to do this virtual roll call within the next basically 10 days to try to lock down what the ticket could look like. So that's why we are seeing this urgency to nail down some of those candidates. When you think about what those two might bring to a Democratic ticket, it's undeniable that they are from states that Democrats need to win if they want to keep the presidency. Think about Pennsylvania. Margins are so tight there, and it's such a battleground state, in a state where Shapiro has been incredibly popular first-term governor. Mark Kelly, Arizona, also a battleground state. Democrats trying to keep momentum there. So other names that we've seen floated, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, another popular governor in the South, a rare Democrat in a southern state. Roy Cooper of North Carolina has been floated as another name. He is a two-term Democratic governor in North Carolina, which is a redder state. So one of the things that the Harris campaign will be looking at as part of this process is who can they add to their ticket to try to bring in some of those key swing voters, Phil?
John, I want to turn to you. Trump said he'd focus on unity. You were at the convention. This was a speech after, someone had taken a shot at him.
Dude, really? We are shopping for a VP. We're shopping for a VP when the Democratic convention is in the middle of August? They're looking at our governor in North Carolina, Roy Cooper, who's now said publicly that he's not interested. But please understand that they're trying to choose people from battleground states. Whoever is going to be the VP is going to turn this situation upside down. And that VP needs to be able to debate J.D. Vance extremely well. I know some of y'all are tripping on me right now because this is a lot. Go ahead and play this.
But then at the first rally for his running mate, J.D. Vance, Republican Senator George Lang said this, and I'll quote it. I'm afraid if we lose this one, it's going to take a civil war to save our country. If we lose a civil war. He's now said he regrets those remarks, but you speak to the Trump campaign. Sure. How does their messaging have to change? How has it changed since the convention with the emergence of Kamala Harris?
Well, not much yet, right? I mean, if you look at Donald Trump's activity on social media, Phil, it's still a lot of Joe Biden, very little Kamala Harris. Look, the two of them, J.D. Vance and Donald Trump, did their first joint interview last night over on Fox News. They started to change the rhetoric a little bit. J.D. Vance did his first campaign event yesterday where he started to turn the heat up on Kamala Harris. But as one person said to me, look, we've been playing this book for 3.5 years on Biden. Now we have to make the turn. And when you talk to Trump world, it's a bit of a mixed bag in the sense that some people say, look, this will be kind of easy because she's, of course, the number two. She's the vice president. We're going to tie everything with Biden and her together. It's the same package, no big deal. Other people, though, say, well, okay, she's younger, she's a better debater, she's a former prosecutor, and that's something that they're bracing themselves for, that, she is unknown in the respect of the day-to-day head-to-head combat they've been doing for much of the last several years.
Right, and Trump's a big fan of numbers and crowds, $100 million in 24 hours, 50,000 volunteers.
And that is something that scares them very much, that money
imagine.
matters.
Elizabeth, Vice President Harris will hold her first campaign rally today in Milwaukee, where the, of course, Republican National Convention was just held. What are you listening for today?
Well, and we know that the Harris campaign did start to lay out its initial argument, sharpening its attacks against Donald Trump. They have this line that Harris will prosecute the case against Trump, something that they want to make a play on her experience as a prosecutor. And we are told that today in Milwaukee, she will focus on a couple of issues that we know are so central to Democrats heading into November. The issue of abortion, which Harris has already been front and center on for the administration. And she also expects to take on Project 2025, which is that sweeping proposal from some former Trump aides that would really reshape the role of the federal government. We expect Harris to be tough against Trump. The campaign says that there is no better place for her to make this case than in Wisconsin, or of course the RNC was held just last week.
All right,
so guys, I know you got questions, but remember I made the statement that Donald Trump does not support this this 2025 thing. He just doesn't. And so that's why I don't give it any, because these are all former aides of his. And my question is, why are y'all former? Why are y'all former? If in turn that's the case, then why are y'all former? Put your question up. Let's see what we got. Also, it's very interesting the angle media is going with speaking on Harris, the only one who can prosecute Trump. Why is the focus on that in relation to Harris winning? I think that if you don't get the results that you want in court, then it's about let's prosecute him publicly. One of the things that has always been a smut in the face of anything when it comes to a public hearing of any kind is the media contaminating public opinion to the point until you don't get a proper juror to come in that's going to be unbiased. And so I think that there is a lot to that. I think that people need to get away from the fact of trying to prosecute Trump and get in the mindset of what is best for the country. If your focus is prosecuting Trump, you're not thinking about the country. Think about the country. Think about the country. I want to show you all something. I want you to pull up. There is a video that I pulled up about Harris and her view concerning Israel. Her view concerning Israel. Would you find that and pull that up for me? Take a look.
There must be an immediate ceasefire.
Our shared priority around standing for the right of Israel to defend itself after the terrorist attack by Hamas.
Our defense relationship is critical to both nations.
which is why I support the United States' commitment to provide Israel with $38 billion in military assistance over the next decade.
All right, take it down. All right. So her support to provide United States assistance of Israel for $38 billion was 2017. This is 2024. Her perspective concerning foreign policy is going to play a key role when it comes to how people view her concerning to protecting the United States and our position. Remember, we're the superpower of the world. We're the superpower of the world. You had questions, go ahead and pull them up. Do you think that Trump will try to turn being the president into a dictatorship like Putin if he wins? I don't think he can. There are certain things that you can and cannot do. And because we have, you have to deal with Congress, you have to deal with Senate, and you have to deal with the White House. And then what you don't want to do is create such a conflict until you are forced out like Nixon and Watergate. Now, what do and that's if he wins. Let me tell you all these other possibilities, guys. So I need to throw some things at you. Let's do a couple hypotheticals. Number one. Hypothetical number one is that Kamala Harris wins the nomination for the Democrats. And she goes on to win the presidency of the United States. Then that means that Joe Biden would maintain his term and go all the way to January 20th. The next, Kamala Harris wins the nomination, loses to Donald Trump while President Biden is still in office. President Biden still has the power to make Kamala Harris the next president of the United States for still 2 months. And she would still be the first female president. And on top of that, Black female president, double minority, that our nation has ever seen. Would he fall on his sword to do that? I believe he would. Just to make her the president, even if it was only for 2 months. If Donald Trump wins, no, here's the next one. I'm sorry. The next one is that Biden may then vacate the office early to prove to voters that she can handle the job so that she can get an uptick when it comes to people that are trying to see what kind of president she would be. Now you have to ask yourself the question, would the United States, because in order to win the United States, because the United States is still made up 14% of Blacks. The majority of the United States is white. You're not going to be able to win the presidency without the white vote. Will she be able to secure the white vote and the white male? We can talk about the white female in just a bit, but the white male. She will get an uptick when it comes to minority votes. She will get an uptick when it comes to women votes. But nobody's talking about her religious beliefs, which is something I've got to get into. I'm already past my time. Are you serious? Do I have another video? I'm trying to put another video up and see. Because here's the deal, guys. We are in a, and I'll take your questions because I think I'm gonna say it to 6:15. It's 6:07 now. I'm gonna say 6:15, and this is going to be. So here's the deal. Right now, and put a question up. Right now, whoever is the, who we got? Go ahead, put this up. Go ahead, click that real quick. Go ahead.
Yes, in a telephone call reacting to President Biden dropping out of the race, Donald Trump said, Joe Biden is the worst president in the history of the United States by far. There has never been a president who has done such damage to our country, from energy independence to letting in millions and millions of illegal immigrants. We will fix what he has done. Asked if he was surprised by Joe Biden's decision to bow out, he said he should never have been on the ticket in the first place. He should have stayed in his basement. So not much sympathy coming from the man who will lead the Republican charge in November's election. We're also hearing in the last few minutes that President Biden spoke with Vice President Kamala Harris today before he made this announcement and before he subsequently endorsed her to be his substitute on the ticket. And as we speak, the responses are pouring in from other potential candidates. Gavin Newsom, for example, the governor of California, Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, other people who have been touted as the potential candidate to represent the Democrats, very quick to pay tribute to Joe Biden, because some will think it's very important that they act as the president has requested and rally around Kamala Harris now so they bring to an end this infighting we've seen over the
Donald Trump, and I didn't get to the part, but Donald Trump makes a statement, and that is going to be as easier to win against Kamala Harris than it was Joe Biden. I don't think so. Because of what they got behind them. Your question's up because I see a question here that is very interesting. All right. What about Kamala? What about Kamala's stance on abortion? Well, on the flip side, there's misinformation about Black men being locked up. She locked only 45 out of 1,900 cases. They even started a boot camp for those who were in trouble. Your thoughts? I think that once they pull her record out, the record will speak for itself. I don't think that Black males are going to be very comfortable with a presidential candidate that is Black, that was locking up Black people. And even if, they did what they did, I think that you'll have to make the case. Sometimes you got to go into the weeds, into the details, to let people know this is why these people were locked up. These were not, a slap on your hand cases of just simple marijuana. This was this, and this, and this. But if they were slap on your hand cases of marijuana or something like that, you got a whole different problem on your hand. What is the next question there? The next question is, do you think Trump should get the Christian vote just because he's against abortion and gay marriage? When every chance he gets, he spews out hate against anyone who's not like him or doesn't support him. Well, I think that I think that's a trick question. And I tell you why. None of the candidates are great Christians. Not one. So it's not the fact of you're looking at a candidate that's a great Christian. You're looking at a candidate that God is going to have to use to do his will to be done. So do I think that he should get the Christian vote because of abortion and gay marriage, because he's against abortion and gay marriage? I think that right now, that whoever is voting, whether you're Christian or non-Christian, you're going to have to vote your conviction. However, as a Christian, I think you line up all of your conviction. Take personality out of it. And this is one of the problems that I have with people. We have such an issue with people and their personality that we don't line up what they're saying. We don't line up what they're saying. Line up what they're saying. I remember taking a test, and I volunteered to take the test. And the test, it was about an election many years ago. I remember taking a test, and the test listed all of these questions And I only wanted to see the candidate that was based on my conviction and my belief. So I just answered the question and saw no face, just answered the question. When I answered the questions, I realized that the candidate that I was supporting was not a candidate that was supporting my convictions. Now, this is about maybe 10, 15 years ago. What I'm saying to you is that I think that right now Christians should vote their conviction if they know what their conviction is. Because a lot of Christians don't even read the Bible enough to know what their conviction is. We're so busy trying to kill each other that we don't even know who the enemy really is. And this is why this is one of the pettiness when it comes to people that say that they're Christians. We keep killing each other. Jesus made the statement to one of his disciples and said, listen, if they are not preaching against what I'm saying, then they are for us. Because the disciples wanted to stop him. He said, are they preaching against what we're saying? Then they're not preaching against what we're saying, then they're for us. Know who your enemies are. Next question. Although as a woman of color, the representation of her image would be spectacular for this country. How do you perceive other countries, Russia, China, Iran, etc., responding to her? Iran, not well. Russia, not well. Xi Jinping, not well. Saudi Arabia, not well. I think that they'll respect her position. I think they will respect the office. I don't think they'll respect her too much. And I'll tell you why. Joe Biden is a white male. And he went to Saudi Arabia trying to get oil for the United States and couldn't get none. But what are they going to do for a black woman? You got to have these people's respect. These are other beliefs, other convictions, you got to have people's respect. Next question. Do you think Kamala's husband will help win the white males? Wow. That's an interesting question. And my answer is no. Well, let me tell you why. Because you have to understand, Rochelle, you have to understand masculinity. And one of the things is that in masculinity, you can look a little weak if then your wife then is the forerunner and you are considered the United States first. The United States first. First male. This is the way I could say it. I did yeah. I read on that a little while ago. It's interesting you asked the question. I read on that a little while ago. I was like, who? And for those of you all remember, I talked about us coming to this point of Kamala Harris being the first female president, even if it was only a short while. And you can go back, because I'm not even concerned about fact checking me on that, because I know I said that. All right, so next one. Y'all got me locked in, boy. Who do you believe would be the smartest Democratic VP pick? I think the question would be, you would have to define smartest for me for this reason. If you're talking about dealing with trying to pull swing states, then yeah, they're on the right track. If you're trying to pull smart people that are influential in the position to make him a powerful person or to make her a more powerful candidate, like a Dick Cheney in the background, your smartest person maybe Anthony Blinken, maybe and it's going to have to be a male. And I know some people are going to ask why you start talking about it, two females. I do not believe that two females on a candidate on the ballot is going to win. I know some of y'all are going to say Michelle Obama. I don't think that you got two black girls on that ballot that's going to win. I just don't. I don't. So I'm going to say it's going to have to be a male. Honestly, Kennedy. I know people will fight that, but Kennedy, that joker's smart. And he maneuvers well. He's smart. Next question. Lord, I'm past 6:15. I got to go. Do you think civil war will be easy? Due to those flooding into the U.S., as many have no respect for USA and law enforcement? I don't think that that would trigger civil war. I think that would trigger stronger immigration laws, but not civil war. Civil war is going to be United States citizens that have an issue with each other. Great question. I'll do one more question and then that's it for tonight. Because we are, when I say rocking, we're rocking. My thing is, if Kamala wins, who would be her vice president? If it's a woman, I don't think that would be wise for her. However, Trump, I believe he could run this country better due to him being a businessman, my opinion. I think there's a very strong opinion, Andrea, and I don't think you're necessarily wrong. I do think that, leave it up there because I want to be able to answer the question. Number one, a female VP is not going to be smart. Number two, I think that Trump runs things predicated on business. And so you're going to have somebody with a business mind, because please understand, just because she was an attorney doesn't mean she knows how to balance a checkbook. And you're dealing with a nation now. You're dealing with a nation. And there have been some presidents, not calling no names, that have almost run this nation in the ground with debt. And I will say that our debt right now in the United States is about 10 to 20 years before its time. It should not be that high. All right, guys, I got to go. I pray that today has been a very interesting and stimulating conversation to you. And that I think that God's favor is on our country, but we have to pray. Let me close out with something from eschatology. According to the word of God, Revelation, the 9th chapter, there is going to be a third world war. About 4 years ago, I made a statement that the next president would be a wartime president. And that has weighed true. Ukraine war, as well as the Gaza war. Now, the next president after this is going to be a wartime president with the United States being directly involved. And that is going to bring along the possibility of World War III. You have never heard any conversation about World War III as much as you have right now. So what do? Stop voting personality, stop looking at personality, and start looking at the fact of who is going to be more yielded to the Lord. Who is going to take the direction from the Lord. And I believe that God can do anything. I believe he will do anything. But I think each and every one of us better understand something, that right now, the United States is on the verge of war because Vladimir Putin has just, not too long ago, some weeks ago, said the United States is an enemy. Never said that before and now saying it. So, blessings to each and every one of you. Please follow us. Follow us. Facebook, Dr. Kevin A. Williams. On Instagram, Dr. Kevin A. Williams Official. X, Dr. KAW Official. As well as YouTube at Kevin A. Williams 777. You can email me at megabossnews777@gmail.com. Support what we're doing. Support what we're doing. Support the news, this news outlet, because that's what it is. At $, Dr. Kevin A. Williams, Zelle, drkevinawilliams@gmail.com, paypal.me/Dr. Kevin A. Williams. And you can mail it to 1822 Sharp Road, Greensboro, North Carolina, 27406, in care of Dr. Kevin A. Williams. Get my book, God Science, because the algorithm that is in that will actually help you understand the perspective of what's happening now, especially when it comes to a biblical perspective. Those of you that are very interested in fixing your life, then join Megaboss Fix My Life. And trust me, your life will change. So 3 months, we're on the second semester, and lives have been tremendously impacted. Let yours be the next one. All right, guys, have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. And may God richly bless each and every one of you. Have a good day. God bless.